is a franchise quarterback? What is the definition of a franchise quarterback? And it changes from person to person. You, as a franchise, who is your guy? Who are you committed to going into the season? And sometimes, in rare instances, the guy that you are committed to, or potentially not even looking into as a future quarterback, can change minds, can change the minds of the people that are in charge and the people that make the decisions for your football team. And in that case, I feel that Jalen Hurts, quarterback from Alabama and Oklahoma, has changed the narrative for the Eagles. And this is not a Jalen Hurts video. This is a Jalen Hurts and a Daniel Jones video, because I am tired of people trying to defend Daniel Jones. As I was not a fan when they drafted him, and I was not a fan when they kept trying to give him a chance. And at what point do we stop the excuses as a Giants? But from the perspective of a Giants organization, when do we stop the excuses, as we know that just because Dave Gettleman's bad doesn't mean Daniel Jones isn't bad. Just because Jason Garrett is bad doesn't mean Daniel Jones isn't bad. I'm not even thinking, I think this is going to sound like a hate piece on Daniel Jones. He is a starting quarterback in the NFL. But at his best, he is a Kirk Cousins quarterback. And I don't think Kirk Cousins is a top 10 quarterback. But I think when everything around him is perfect and he's got things good going around, I think Daniel Jones can be a viable, potentially playoff quarterback. While I feel like Jalen Hurts, when there's adversity around him, he almost thrives in it and excels in it and wants that. And I feel like Jalen Hurts' ceiling is higher. I feel that everything is higher with Jalen Hurts, even with mobility and things like that. And this is a comparison of two quarterbacks that I feel like in this offseason was talked about a lot. Things being such as one team feeling as if they aren't committed to a quarterback and the other one going all in on a quarterback. And we're at a point where I feel like an answer has been shown between the two. And there's other quarterbacks throughout the offseason that were in controversy and talked about a lot, but I feel like these two I wanted to talk about because they're in the same division. They play each other twice. They haven't played each other until this weekend. And watch Daniel Jones throw for 353 touchdowns, and Jalen Hurts falls off a cliff after I post this video. But I mean, last time I hyped up an NFL player, they went for 5 touchdowns. If you look at one of my previous videos, right before Jonathan Taylor went off for 5 touchdowns, I said, go watch that man. He is electric. He is one of the best players in this league. And not saying I was the first one to say that, by no means, but I'm saying it's kind of funny that I hype up this player and then he goes and runs for 5 touchdowns against one of the better teams in the league. And well, I have a list here of a couple notes. I mean, it's not a lot. I like to handwrite my notes over typing them. Also, I just don't want to go to the library of my college campus to go print out notes. And coming out of college, I'm going to talk about Daniel Jones. I'm going to talk about the pros and cons. If you are Dave Gettleman and you're feeling your seat is on a heater, not because it's New York, because you are about to get fired most likely. What did they see in Daniel Jones to draft him at 6? We could talk about the Peyton Manning or the Manning in general connection that got Adam Gase a job, and we saw how that happened. But like the pros of Daniel Jones and like why they thought he is the franchise and why he potentially still is the franchise quarterback for the New York Giants. And when Daniel Jones was coming out of the draft, I did like a lot of research on him because I didn't know him much. He's a Duke quarterback. I assumed he was relatively smart. He had Cutcliffe as his coach. And all I saw on film was easy, quick decisions, get it to the playmakers, and that's it, right? And he didn't have a lot of chance to show off his mobility, which has been a surprise in the NFL. A lot of people didn't expect Daniel Jones to be this mobile guy. A lot of comparisons to like a pro pocket style quarterback. And I think that's just because the Duke offense didn't ask for him to move a lot. And he had a pretty terrible wide receiver core. So people thought, well, I mean, he has a terrible wide receiver core. Maybe these deep balls aren't getting caught or guys aren't getting open, so he's not able to showcase his arm. And I think he has a very below average to average arm. His mobility gets shown, but he's not as durable. they try to implement it. Like, I saw Jason Garrett tries to implement, like, read options, and they work from time to time, but his mobility isn't really to extend plays. It's just he gets in the open field. He has more speed than people expect. And I don't really, when I watch Giants games, I don't see him making an extra play because of his mobility. And he has to do that a lot because the Giants' offensive line is terrible. It would be unfair for me to blame everything on Daniel Jones. It would be unfair to say that Jalen Hurts doesn't have probably a better offensive line, but the Eagles aren't a perfect team, and nor are the Giants. And with a lot of chaos, I feel like Jalen has thrived in the chaos versus Daniel Jones has just kind of not gotten any of the heat as they have been blaming Saquon getting hurt or injuries being around. I mean, we see Kenny Gallaudet. I watched the play, and like I haven't watched Kenny Gallaudet much this year, but watching him not even give effort on blocks, I think that was a bad free agency signing. I think drafting a running back second overall was a bad decision. You don't draft a guy that high. We see guys like Jonathan Taylor aren't drafted that high, and they are going for 5 touchdowns. I have 2 Jonathan Taylor mentions in a video. One of my favorite players in the league. But usually a Wisconsin running backs are one of my favorite. All right, I'm getting off topic. But Daniel Jones, my biggest gripe with him is I'm not seeing jumps or steps. I'm seeing minor steps that are important. You're going forward, but I'm also not seeing anything special. Whenever I watch Daniel Jones, I don't see special. I see game manager. I see a guy that is just kind of... I don't see special. It's hard to explain because it's such an eye test. I can look here at the stats. I mean, we're looking at 2 guys from 2 different draft classes, right? Daniel Jones has 3 years, while Jalen Hurts has 2. And in 2 years with Jalen Hurts, I have seen significant jumps in his game. I've seen bigger strides in passing the ball. I've seen, like, Jalen Hurts in 2 years has 9 interceptions versus Daniel Jones 29. And that's a year difference. We're seeing a very similar completion percentage for a guy that we thought, well, I mean, Daniel Jones is more of a pocket guy, right? He has a higher completion percentage. He's a short throw kind of guy, but he's only at 62%, while Jalen Hurts doesn't have a pretty 58.5. You're seeing it from his rookie year into his sophomore year. It's a big jump. He is making strides. He's a leader in the locker room, and I understand people talk about Jalen Hurts' leadership as if it's Cade Cunningham's maturity, and it was one of his biggest pros coming out of the draft class, and it is fair to say that he is a big-time leader, and it's also fair to say that Daniel Jones was also a team captain in his second year, and the biggest difference between the two is I see the leadership. I see Jalen Hurts in and out of these huddles, getting hyped on the sideline, talking to his guys, and you could see him working with his coaches. You could see him, he wants everything about this game. While Daniel Jones, if there's a sack or there's things going south for the Giants, I don't see him very ecstatic. I see him kind of calm, but at the same time, almost too calm. Like, you got to show some emotion, right? You have to show some competitive fire, and I don't see that out of Daniel Jones most of the time. I will say the pluses with Daniel Jones I've seen have been he's been able to get down the fumbles. He still has dumb picks. So does Jalen Hurts. Both quarterbacks are very young, but the question I'm trying to answer today is not who would you rather have, but are either of these guys franchise quarterbacks? And I think one of them is, and one of them is not. And I think the guy that is in Philadelphia, and he has shown me special week in from week out. He is a harder runner of the football. I think he might be durable. I knock on wood that he's more durable. I think he is in a better situation, and I think it's more impressive that he's been able to turn a organization around who was very clearly not going for. I mean, they traded for Gardner Minshew, who whatever your opinion of Gardner Minshew is, whatever your opinion is, but Gardner Minshew, I still think should get a starter job somewhere, or at least another shot. Because I've seen more special out of him than Daniel Jones. That's my hot take for the video. But Jalen Hurts has managed to convince Nick Sirianni and this general, and I don't know who the general manager is, I can't remember his name, but this Eagles organization to rally behind him. And now if you're looking at the Eagles, they're more of a sleeper playoff team that could potentially sneak in, and I would see them as a scary team to face. I mean, they have a running game that you do not want to go against. You have Devontae Smith, who can get open at any second. Jalen Reagor has had an off and on season, but he is speed, and at any moment he could pop off for a big play. This defense is playing well. Darius Slay at the corner. Like, if they can figure some of these things out through a couple years, they're closer to being a contender than a pretender, versus the Giants, who are just a mess. And it's still a very obvious question mark at Daniel Jones, because obviously a quarterback that is special isn't going to fix all your problems. You're not going to find a Justin Herbert. You're not going to find a Patrick Mahomes from year to year. I don't think there's one of those guys in this draft. You're not going to draft Matt Corral and he's going to fix everything. But you want to be able to see progress, and in the 3 years, I think his rookie year has been his best year, genuinely. And I understand that the pieces surrounding him have not been good. You don't have Saquon for most of the last year and off and on this year. Kenny Gallaudet has been a bust of a signing so far, but then you have Kadarius Toney has been off and on the field, but he has looked like the brightest spot on this offense, and maybe Freddie Kitchens pulls something out of him, but I doubt it. I doubt it sincerely. I still don't believe in Freddie Kitchens. I think he had Baker Mayfield's luck and something clicked there, but I don't think it'll click with Daniel Jones. And I hope Daniel Jones works out, but I don't see him being the franchise answer for the New York Giants. I think they were trying to get an Eli clone and ended up getting a Mike Glennon clone, if anything. I see the progress in smaller things with Daniel Jones, but I don't see the jumps, and he's still as inaccurate down the field as he was his rookie year. He had one of the best debuts. I think he has one of the best nicknames. Danny Dimes is sick, but when you have a guy named Danny Dimes and your biggest flaw is inaccuracy and dumb picks, and you can't feast on a offense after a bye week against a weak secondary, that is telling of how bad your offensive coordinator, who is fired, by the way. Jason Garrett should not have been your offensive coordinator in the first place. But then again, easy things are difficult, and some of that has to go on the quarterback. And Jalen Hurts, I'm seeing progression. I'm seeing being able to read defenses. I'm seeing just incredible things. Like, I keep saying special, but I see special all the way from high school. I mean, Jalen Hurts could not throw the ball at Alabama. He was Blake Sims at Alabama, and a hard runner of the football. And he gets to Oklahoma, he's a little bit better. He's a little bit better. Every year, I have never seen him regress. And I think, if anything, Daniel Jones has regressed from his sophomore to junior year. Not saying he's in high school or college, but like third year, second year, whatever. I even have as a con for Daniel Jones is Jason Garrett, and he got fired the next day. I have to re-record this video, probably for my third time because of the angle of the camera. It's a whole ordeal. Honestly, I feel that Jalen Hurts is the answer in Philadelphia. Build around him. Build an offense. I understand that you kind of have to tailor your offense toward Jalen Hurts, and I think your ceiling's higher. And if you tailor an offense around Daniel Jones, I don't think they're a playoff team. I don't think he could lead a team consistently and make the throws that you need. And if it's a 3rd and 12 and you need a great throw, a great out route, right on the money, I don't think Daniel Jones could hit that ball every single time. If you like the video, please like and subscribe. I'm trying to produce as many videos as I can. If there's a college football team, NFL team, NBA team you want me to talk about, I'm going to try to get daily videos if I can. I'm going to produce as many player analysis as winter break comes up. I'm going to do deep dives on players and do film breakdowns, specifically with a lot of college prospects to get people kind of used to certain names are going to come up around April. But like I said, like and subscribe. Thanks so much.